All right, welcome to this workshop on prototyping quickly with Adobe Xd. My name is Sandra Bermond. I'm the program manager for the Innovation Collab, which is a service here at Duke for students, staff, faculty at Duke. We offer training courses in lots of different topics, including design, web development, software development, digital modeling and fabrication, and many, many more. So if you are interested in seeing what we offer, you should check out the Collab website. And with that said, let's get into the workshop. I will briefly mention that even though this class is called Quickly Prototype with Adobe Xd, there's nothing quick about prototyping in general. So today, the goal of the workshop is to show you how we can kind of get started a little bit quicker. But the truth of the matter is that it's going to take you hours to create an entire prototype for a whole app, okay? So I'll go over a couple of different things that you can do to make your process a little bit quicker. And then I will show you guys how to do the actual prototype inside of Xd. And then if we have time, I'll show you how to implement some of those quick tips that I will have mentioned at the beginning. Okay, so first of all, I see someone just joined, so I will put the link in the chat again. This is the file that I'm currently working with. You guys are free to use that file as well. You might not have the same fonts as me, so if you have some missing fonts, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. And before we go into the different tips, I just want to make sure that we all know a little bit about Xd itself. So here I have opened my file, and if you download the file, you can just double click on it and it'll open. I will just mention a few things so that when I talk about them later, you're not completely confused. So on the left here, we have our toolbar, and then on the right, we have some sort of property panel. It's not called that, but this is where you can, change fonts and colors and all that good stuff. At the top here, we have several tabs. The two tabs that are really important are the design tab, where you can draw things, and the prototype tab, where you can link artboards. Each of these screens that you can see here are called artboards, okay? And then the last thing to mention is down here, we have these three icons. This one here is the asset or component panel. And this one over here is the layers panel. This is for plugins, but that would be a different topic for a different day. Okay. All right, so with that said, how do we get started fast? Well, the first thing that I always recommend is to take some time to sketch out what you're going to design. The first thing to do is you're going to want to think a little bit about what you're trying to design and write it down. So for example, here, my little app is called Health Run. And the idea behind it was an app that would allow you to track your runs, how fast you were going, how long you were going, and you can compare them, and you can maybe, see what your friends are doing and set up reminders and all kinds of stuff. Right. So from there, I wrote down what I wanted the app to do, and then I was able to kind of make little arrows to tell me, okay, what are the different main screens that I would need, right? So that was the first thing that will help a lot, because once you know what you're going to have on your app, it's going to make it easier for you to make a sketch. Okay, so that's what we have here. Here's a little sketch for, I don't know if that's very visible, but that's a little sketch for the splash or landing page. And then I have a little sketch here for the about page. And then I started another one here for the profile page. Sketching is very quick, especially if you already know what's going to go on the page. I think to make those sketches, I probably spent, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes on each of those. So that was pretty fast. Okay. The other thing that you can do once you have done a sketch is look into what we called UI kits. Okay, so Adobe Xd is very cool in the sense that it links to UI kits right from within the app. So right here, I have the app open and I can go look for UI kits. All you have to do is click on File and then Get UI Kits. And you see you have a couple of them listed here. What I recommend is to go directly to More UI Kits, because that will take you to a page where you will literally have every single UI kit. So here we go. Just going to show you guys a few that I think are most important to download if you're interested in doing that sort of stuff. One of them, if you want to do a lot of mobile design, specifically for iPhones, I recommend downloading this kit here. If you have a Windows computer, it's going to be a bit harder because of the file format, but it can be open. You just have to have you know, WinZip or WinRAR or one of those programs that allow you to unzip files. And the other one that I strongly recommend is, where is it? This one here. We're going to use that one today. And what this UI kit does is it's basically a file that someone made with all kinds of different nav bars and layouts and all that good stuff. So you can not only get inspired by it, but also you can kind of like borrow, you know, the components that were created by this person and just apply them directly into your design. You can then modify them, or, you know, just change the color or something like that. And then the other one that I strongly recommend is this Auto Animate one. This one will show you how to create all kinds of animations with XD. And that's really why I love XD, is because, well, not only can you create some beautiful interfaces with it, but it can also recreate all kinds of animations and actions that would happen in a real app. Okay. Now, I will mention that XD does not create code, so is purely a design tool, right? So there's nothing at the end that transforms what you've done into HTML and CSS, for example, unfortunately. But you can get a pretty accurate description of what you want the app to look like, and then share that with clients or, you know, your team or professor or whatever it may be that you need it for. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through these two apps, those two UI kits very quickly. I already have them on my computer, just so that you can get an idea of what that looks like. So I will go ahead and open them. Let me get that here. I think, is it in my downloads? Yes. All right, so the first one, the wireframe ones, when you open it up, you have two files. You have a web file and a mobile file. I'm going to look very quickly at the web file first, just because I do want to show you guys the power of this particular file. Okay, so here we go. And you see here right away, everything is labeled. You can see here they're telling you UI elements, landing sections, content sections, presentations. So let's come in here in the UI elements. So right there, we get icons that you can use on your computer and on your designs directly, which is super nice. I don't know about you, but I don't always want to have to redesign my own icons every time. So having them directly made here is just a lifesaver and saves a lot of time. They have navigation bars that you can borrow and change a little bit, or, you know, just get inspired by. The footers, some cards, some flowcharts elements. I don't know what you would use that for, but maybe some people would find that useful. I'm not sure. So these would be, you know, like separate pieces that you could just plug into your design. But then they also have completely made pages, so like a landing section. And what is really nice about what they've done here is that you get all kinds of different options, right? So you could, you know, choose what you have there, or, you know, take a piece of let's, for example, we want this one, but we want this nav, we could take this and then that, and all that kind of good stuff. And that saves a lot of time. Okay. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you get the idea. And then the other one, I'm going to close this one because we're not going to be using it today. The other one is the mobile one, and that's the one we will use. So the mobile one has even more things, and it also has its own UI elements. You can see all the icons here, some navs, buttons, UI controls, all that kind of good stuff. They even have a map, which I have used in my design, sign up pages and all that good stuff. So you could see, I think, how like this would save you time, because you could just copy that, paste it into your design, and then go from there. And then the other one I want to show you is the auto animate. So this one is super nice in the sense that not only are they showing you the different animations, but they also explain to you how it's done. So let's look at this one, for example. This is a loading circle. And to view an animation play or to view a prototype play, all you have to do is click on an artboard and then press the little play button or desktop preview, which is at the top right. So when I click on it, you can see that now it's playing the animation. The way that this is done is those two artboards are linked with one another, and this this circle here has been rotated 360 degrees. And so now XD knows to just rotate this thing, which is quite amazing. Let's look at just a couple other ones. See that one, all done with XD. Dark mode. So those are pretty cool. I think this one, yeah, you just click. And this is the type of things that will really help, simulate what a website will look like once you actually create it, right? I'm not going to go through all of them because that would take too long, but I would encourage you to look at those and see how they're made. To see how something would be made, what you can do is, let's look at this one, for example. We click on it, we open the layer panel, and see they have a mask group here. We can double click to open the mask group, and then we can see all these numbers that were added in there, right? And then when we look at this one, we can see that they basically move the numbers up. And that's what's happening when the animation plays. Basically, these numbers are moved up, these numbers are moved up, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So strongly encourage you guys to check those out because they are quite delightful. And, I would never have guessed that you could do such things. So, okay. Let's go back to our little document here. Any questions so far on the UI kits? No? Okay. All right. So let's look at this design here. So I've already made a couple of artboards just because I'm not going to lie, this would take way too long to do in one workshop. But what I really want to concentrate on is to create the actual prototype. When you work in XD, as you can see from the tabs up here, we have design and we have prototype. And these two things are pretty different. The design itself is obviously the creation of the artboard. And then the prototype is the linking of the artboard. So let's get started with this over here. This is our splash or landing page for a web app. And as you can see, I have this little person here and they're doing different movements. And my goal here was to make this little person run. I wanted to just move and run. So how can I do that? Well, we need to create an animation for that. The first thing to do is to go into prototype mode. Okay. And then we're going to select our first artboard here. And to select the whole artboard, you can just click on the name. Now, to do what I want to do, that's very important to select the entire artboard and not just any other place in the document. I'm going to click this little arrow and drag it to this second artboard. Now, these two are linked. Now, by default, you're probably going to see something like this. Tap, transition, splash, dissolve, and then might be ease out is usually the default. Now, what I want to do here is to create an animation. So first I need to change the action type. When I click on the little drop down, I have a few different options. And the one that I'm going to use for animation is auto animate. Okay. I can change the easing. The easing is basically how is the animation getting played. Ease in, out, for example, means that it goes slow, fast, slow. Ease out is fast, slow. Ease in is slow, fast. I don't know what the snap does. I think it just kind of like does like a really like quick thing. The wind up is this really weird stuff, and then bounce, it just literally bounces. Now, in our case, we wouldn't want to use these, but they might be of interest for some other things. So don't discount them entirely, and you should play with them, of course. Duration, I want my little guy to run pretty fast. So I'm going to change the duration to 0.2 seconds. You can also click here to view the different options here. But as you notice, it stops as 1 second. You can go more than 1 second, of course. You just have to type it manually. And the last thing here is we're going to change the trigger. So right now it's a tap, and I want this little guy to run on its own. So I need it to be time. I need the trigger to be time. Basically, after 0 seconds, it's going to go to the next artboard. Okay. Now we're gonna try and do the same thing from this artboard to this third artboard. So I will click on splash 2, and you see that I get this little arrow again. I'll click and drag it to the next artboard. And you'll notice that all the interactions here are the same that we just did in the previous artboard. And that's because Xd tries to, go to basically keep your settings as you go. I'm guessing it just believes that, yeah, if you've done this one, you're probably going to use it again. So that's kind of nice because then I don't have to worry about redoing it, right? So now I can just go into the next one. So click on splash 3, link to the fourth splash here. And of course, the interaction is all good. So then I'll click on splash 4 and bring it back to splash 1. This will create a looped animation so that it will continue to go forever. So now let's play it. We'll click on this, click on our little desktop preview, and you can see my little guy is running. Now he's a little bit funky, but it's the best I could do in the time frame. We could probably make it better if we wanted to have more artboards with different what is the word I'm looking for? Like gestures and stuff to make it less robotic, but kind of cool. All right, let's close that. Okay, so that's all well and good. We have created this, basically we've created the splash page, right? Because even though we have 4 artboards for it, at the end of the day, when someone goes on this page, to them, it looks like a single page, right? But now what we want to do is to get people to go to another page, like, for example, the About page. So if I come closer here, on my little artboard, I can see that I have this little nav bar at the bottom. And the first button here is the About. Now, if I click on there, as you can see, it will select the nav entirely because this is a group. I will have to double click to then be able to select just the About icon and text. Now I'll click and drag that to the About page. As you can see, the interaction is again still in auto animate. However, it's changed the trigger to a tap because it just cannot do a time trigger when you select an element within within an artboard. The time thing can only work when you're selecting the artboard itself. And you see, if I click on here, we don't have the options. We have tap, drag, etc. The drag thing is kind of cool because you can actually connect your phone. You see, you can do a device preview. I don't have anything to connect my mobile phone to my computer. Actually, because my phone is a Android and my computer is a Mac, they don't like each other and it doesn't recognize it anyways. But if you have compatible hardware, you could potentially hook them up and then have your design play on your computer, on your phone, and you could do the drag thing, which is really cool. But in our case, a tap is what I'm going to use. And I have to make sure to change the action from auto animate to transition, okay, because it's not animated. All right. We can change the duration to 0.4 seconds. Ease in and out is fine. And that's it. Now, that's cool, right? If I click on here, I can see I have two links. I have the link that goes here, and then I have this link that goes to the About. However, I'm sure you can imagine that when we play this animation, we're going to have an issue. And the issue being that because what's happening is that it's rotating between those four artboards, it's going to be very hard to click on the About page because we can only click it when we are on this artboard. And since it's only on that artboard for 0.2 seconds, I'm sure you can guess that it would be very difficult. So what we're going to do is we need to link every single About icon here to the About page. And that way we will be able to click no matter where we are. We'll link them just like so. And there we go. All right, let's play that. All right, it's playing. And now I can go and click on About, and I'm taken to my About page. Right? Cool. We have one more that we need to do right now, and then we can move on to create a design using the UI kit wireframe. So I've prepared this little profile here. And as you can see, we have 3 versions of it. The only thing that's changing on here are this filter and the way that these cards are displaying. Okay. So my goal here is that I want to simulate what would happen if someone was filtering on this profile. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little drop down, and I will link it to this one. Now, because I want to create some sort of animated effect where this box just drops down, I need to make it in auto animate action. Otherwise, it will just look strange. So we will put it into auto animate. It's going to have a tap trigger. Everything else looks fine. You can also use fixed position when scrolling, especially if you have a long page. Now, in this case, this page is the actual size of the screen, so it doesn't go further down. So we don't need to worry about it. All right. And then I'll click over here And I'll say, okay, well, if someone is selecting average speed, it will go to this artboard. It will also auto animate because I want this box to just tighten back up. And then if we click date, it'll go back to this artboard. Okay. And then we'll do the same with this one. We'll go back to this artboard right here if someone clicks that. What that does is that it allows you to cycle back through your what's the word I'm looking for? It will allow you to cycle back through your artboards. If you don't do this, that's happened to me a lot, that when I create a prototype and I have a lot of artboards and I don't link them as I go, what happens is that I will forget one, you know, not by choice, but I just will eventually forget one. And then you have to kind of try to find where you went wrong. And it's particularly awful if you're in the middle of presenting a project and you're like, yeah, so then you click here and then you try to click and then nothing happens. So always double check that everything is connected right. And if possible, try to connect things as you go. So let's play this. There we go. It even has cute little things here. I've done some hover effects, which can be done by using components. I don't really have time to go over that, so that would be for a different day, but know that you can check out this file and see how it was done. All right. Any questions on linking files? Or linking artboards, I should say. No? All right, so let's create another page. So we're going to create the sign up page, right? Because people would need to sign up into our app. So what I like to do first is go back to the design tab. And personally, I find it much easier to copy an already made artboard first. So you can press Option on your Mac or Alt on your PC, and then click and drag, and that will create a copy. And then I'm just going to delete everything inside of it except for the nav and the top thing here. So I'll just delete all of that, right? And the reason I'm deleting this is because I'm not going to use those elements inside of this particular page. I also recommend that you name your artboards. So this one will be sign up. Very good. And this is no longer going to be white, so we need to fix that before we forget. Just like so. All right, so now we have, you know, a blank page, basically. And to save us time, what we can do is go to that UI kit wireframe, the one that I opened earlier. And you see I have them one side by side, like the other one is just underneath, so I can click on it. And I'm going to look at the sign up options that they have here and see if there's any of them that kind of like, you know, speak my name and that I can take and just modify it to be what I want. So let's see. I think I like this one the most. So I'm going to click on the outside of the artboard and then just drag over it to select everything. I can copy this by doing Command C on my keyboard or Control C if you have Windows. Go back to my file, select my artboard by clicking on it, and then Command V to paste, or Control V if you have PC. You can drag it down. And you can see that it's not the exact size. So we're gonna have to fix that. So first, I'm gonna bring it up to my little health run top nav here, and it will snap in place, which is very nice. Also, everything is by default responsive resize in auto. So if I click here and drag, things will just resize on their own and try to be where they're supposed to be. Do something like that. All right. So we have like a working setup, and now we just need to, make it look better. I'm going to click on that. And right now I can see that the person who designed this used a grid. I need to make sure that it's no longer a grid, or at least that it's not acting the way that it currently is. So I'll just bring this handle here, and then I can move this whole grid. Let me move it. There you go. I'll move it like so, and the center looks pretty good. Okay. I'm also going to fix this. So you see when I clicked on it, it has this green icon here, and that means that it's a linked component. I'm going to remove it from the linked component. So there's quite a few here that came with this that we just borrowed. So I can right click here and then just delete. And it's not going to delete the component. It's not going to delete the item on your interface. It's just deleting the component itself right here. So it's no longer linked. Then all of this is actually grouped. So I'm going to ungroup it. I'll remove this little extra here. And I can move that up so that it matches. Now I need to make sure that the text matches what I have elsewhere. So I'll click on sign up, change the font. Actually, I have it saved. You see, this is the other thing that you can do to make your life easier is when you can set up your character styles and your colors and all that stuff. And that will make it a lot easier, because now instead of having to go through the different text and all the styling on the right, I can just click here and just apply what I already have. So here I click that, and now obviously it's the wrong color. So then I'll just click this color to make it what I want. Make sure that this little arrow is also the right blue. I'll click that to make it the right blue.
I had a quick question. I'm trying to resize it and it's not working. Is there something that I have to click on before I can drag?
Make sure that you have the selection tool selected, and then normally all you have to do is with the whole thing selected, you can just drag like that and it should work. I haven't done anything special to make that work, but if you have issues, check out this section here on the right. Check out the layout section and make sure that responsive resize is toggled on in auto. Because if it's not toggled on auto, it's going to resize differently.
I don't think I have, like when I click on it, there's no bar appearing with all of those different options. I don't know if it's because it was because I copied and pasted from another document, maybe.
That's strange, because I copied and pasted from a different document as well. Do you have this section on the right?
No.
Oh, is it at the top maybe? Do you have a big computer?
I don't think so. Normally it should. Yeah, it's really weird. I don't think I see it on any of the others either. Okay. Like it has interaction, but nothing else.
Go ahead and go on view and make sure that you're not in full screen. I'm not sure why you wouldn't have that. It doesn't look like it's, like other Adobe apps where you can go and find it in window.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know.
Okay.
we can look at it after, or you can send me an email and I can check it out at some point and see if we can figure out what's wrong with it, because that is weird. Okay, I'm just going to continue a little bit, just because time is limited and I want to make sure that we have this thing done and then link it. But yeah, okay, so here we changed the text to match what we had in our character styles. We changed the background of this bar here using this blue over here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use this gray. That will make way more sense for my app, because I'm reserving this blue for buttons and things to click. Okay, now here we're going to select to select this particular text here. You're going to have to double click until it is selected, and then we can select all the other text by pressing Shift, Command. Wait, no, is it Option? Oh yeah. Shift. Why is this not working for me? Okay, it was working earlier. Well, never mind. We'll just do it manually one by one. It's all right. So we'll double click on that one to get it selected. And then we can click on paragraph. Oh, that's because it's a grid. I'm silly, of course. And you see everything changed with it because it is a repeat grid. So it's repeating this every time. And then I bet that if I change this one, it will also repeat it. Yeah. So there you go. It's changed it here. Now I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Actually, this one could be 16, but we'll make this one 14. Just like that. And of course, we need to change the name because we're making a prototype, we want things to match. So our profile person is Teresa Williams. So we need to make sure that the name of the sign up is Teresa Williams. There we go. Password can stay the same. And then we'll make this a different border and a different fill. So first we'll change the fill to this white that we have, and then we'll change the border. To change the border, just click on it and then click this little eyedropper. And we can change it to something else. I'm going to try this little orange here that I have. And I also want to make this a bit friendlier. So I can just bring the corners in. And just if you're looking for a specific radius, on the right in your property panel, you have this little section right there in appearance where you can decide what the corner is going to be like. Someone's asking that they missed the beginning of this lecture. Will it be posted onto YouTube? I believe so, but I'm not the coordinator of this, so maybe someone can say.
Yeah, we'll have this all recorded. It should be up on our YouTube potentially after the event. But if you are looking to access it beforehand, feel free to reach out and then we can give you access and everything like that. So yeah.
Thank you so much. All right, so that answers the question. All right, so we've already fixed this. Now we can just fix this button here. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I can reduce both sides at the same time by pressing Option on my Mac. Again, if you're using PC, that would be an Alt. And I need to double check this corner here. So I'll have to double click in there because this is a group. And I can see here, once I've double clicked, that the corner is at 4 and I need an 8. Okay. And this is fine. We can leave it as is. We just need to change the color of this thing to this dark blue. All right. And all that's left to do now is to make sure that the distance is good. Now, when we work on the web, we typically try to have everything be a, what is the word? A multiple of 8. So maybe 80 pixels at the top here, or yeah, I think 80 pixels. You can move things by dragging them around, or you can also, once they're selected, use your up and down arrow key on your keyboard. The nice thing with XD is that it gives you those little bars to tell you where you are or how far you are when you're moving your elements. So maybe here we can do, I'm bad at math, 54, I think. Yeah. Oh, and we need, sorry, go ahead.
I was just wondering how you made the boxes rounded.
Oh, so to make the boxes rounded, you would double click inside of that grid to select the box. And then in your property panel, you have this little section that says appearance. And right there, you have these little icons. And if you hover over them, they'll say same radius for all corners or different radius for each corner. And you select same radius, and then you can put in a number right there. You can also drag those little buttons inside of here, but it's just not as precise because you won't know exactly. If you don't have a specific number in mind and just want to make it look right in your eyes, then of course drag these. But if you have a specific number, then you would just put it in here.
Okay, is there a way to apply that to all of the boxes at once?
You can probably select multiple boxes. So let's say we wanted to do this one and then this one. So what you would do is click and then shift click on the next one. Although these are groups, so hang on. Can I do this? I know there's a way to select things inside of groups. Okay, so it looks like you have to do click, then shift, option, command to click on the next one. And that will select both of them at the same time. Now, if you're trying to change the boxes inside of this grid here, changing it on the single one of them will change all the other boxes as well. Okay, so here I've selected both of those, and then I can change the radius. So if I wanted to do 10, for example, you see they would both get the change at the same time. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. I'm going to change that to this color, and then, oops, double click inside. Otherwise, it will also change the text. And I will make this light, say 30%. And then this will be a link. So we'll just click this little link button. And we'll just change the name. Like so. All right, so we have just created this little thing here. Let me make sure that this isn't a login up here, not log out. And now we need to link this to this and to that, right? So with this done, we can go back to prototype. And here in the about page, we're going to click on a login. So you're going to have to double click to select just the login word here, and then click and drag here. So now a nice thing we could do is, instead of having, let me put that transition, instead of having it a dissolve like we did with the splash, we could have this thing just kind of like push in, right? So interaction is going to be tap, action is going to be transition, and then we can choose a different animation. So let's say that we wanted to come in from the left, say push right. Let's see if it works. There we go. Excellent. It's a little bit fast. I'll change the speed to 1 second. Let's play that again. Pretty nice. Right? Let's say that someone changed their mind. They can go back. I'm going to put that there and say, okay, it's going to transition and we will push left this time, right? So let's play this transition here. Log in and back. Cool, right? All right, so now let's link this to our profile. Drag there. I think we're gonna make that a dissolve 0.4 seconds. We'll do the same thing here. Make sure that if someone clicks on that, it will also take them there. The reason why you want to spend some time to ensure that things that you click are going to the right spot is that you can share this product with a client without you being the one driving it. Basically, I can share a link to a client or a team member or whoever, and they can then tap on your app and try to see how it works all on their own. And if you forget to link something, then they might get lost or might not know why something is not working. It can create problems. So whenever you are creating artboards like this, you really want to take the time to make sure that everything is connected properly and that you play test it a lot, like I'm doing. I'm obviously play testing it a lot. But yeah, let's do that again. Just logging in, okay. Sign in, and here we are. Cool. I can go back to the about. And let's say that then we want to go to the profile. We need to come here and link to the profile. Very good. Okay, and that basically takes us to the end of what I've prepared for today. I hope you saw how using the UI kit as our starting point made this process quite a bit faster. Just for a reference, I mean, obviously this is a more complicated screen, but it took me an hour and a half to draw this, and it took me, what, 20 minutes, maybe even less, to do this one. And then if you want, at this point, because everything is linked, we can play the whole app from the start. Check it out, log in. Oh no, I forgot something. Oh, actually I want to log in, sign in. Okay, cool. I can rotate with my friends. Very nice. Click here, change that. Go back to about, okay? So now, obviously, if I was to present this app, I would spend some time to create more pages, right? I would want to have an edit version of this page, right? I would also want to have a version where I can see another person's profile who might have more runs and see how we could display those. We would also want to have a page for each individual run, because obviously we want some specific information in there and things like that. So creating a prototype is time consuming, but UI kits can make it faster. That's, if there's anything you should take from this class, it's this.
I was wondering how you got the friends to scroll.
The friends to scroll? Very
Yeah.
good question. I can show this. Actually, we have a little bit of time. So to do the friends, the scrolling friends, let me remove that just so you can see. So what I did is I created all of these little icons here. They're all together, and you see they're going out of the artboard. And then you select them all, just like so. And on the property panel in the transform section, you have these different options here where you can scroll horizontally or vertically or in all the ways. So here I would just choose horizontal, and then I get these little handles that I can move like that. And now when I play it, it knows that it is contained within these bounds, but you can scroll up to wherever you got content. So if you had, you know, 1 million friends and the line would go all the way to here, you could scroll through all of that. But the one thing is that when you're creating it, you need room, because otherwise, you see, if I was to delete this one, now what's going to happen is that this item here and then this guy here, they're now part of this artboard. They're no longer attached to this one. So that's just the one thing is that when you're using scrolls, you want to make sure that you have room when you initially create them.
Okay, so should it work in the file that you gave us without us doing anything?
Yeah, it should already be there because I've already set it up.
Okay, it's not really working for me, but I guess maybe
Does it appear when you click on it in the design? Yeah. Okay. So sometimes it is a little bit finicky with me too. Like I've had to click on it once. Last time it got stuck and didn't want to scroll. And that happened to me like twice today. So sometimes you just have to, yeah, click on it and then try again. Or maybe, you know, close it and open it again and try again.
Okay.
Right. Any other questions or comments?
If there are no other questions, again, if you do have questions, feel free to leave it in the chat or unmute yourself. But otherwise, I guess that's it. In which case, thank you so much, Sandra, for volunteering to be here and speaking and giving us this great talk into basically how to use Adobe Xd and everything like that. I know you're probably pretty busy and everything like that. So again, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
thank
yeah.
you for having me, and I hope this was useful. I hope it makes you want to work with XD. It's honestly my favorite Adobe program ever. It's just, you know, so much easier to use than all the other programs that they have, and they have some really good content with it. I will also say that this is the, I think, newest or second newest app made by Adobe. So it is still in development, and they are adding new features, I want to say like every other month. I mean, it's wild. So if you want to adopt this as your UI design platform of choice, I highly recommend it because it's my favorite.
Yeah, for sure. And as mentioned before, this is recorded, so it might not be live before the event is over, but if you do feel like you want to like come back and reference this material and everything like that, feel free to message someone on the HackDude team on Discord, and then we can go ahead and get it to you. So yeah. Awesome.
Thank you. You guys have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.